You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Well, welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, January 7th show. I provide you news on everything money, fresh information on market trends and conditions in our local economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. To talk with the guest I have in studio or chat with your host, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Right now in studio, I'm going to have a conversation with Jessica Scotti with Agency One. Jessica, thank you so much. You're another first-time guest with me in studio.
Yes, and I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Tina.
Very excited to share with my listeners questions and things that they need to ask their Realtor. And before we get into that, I want to give a little background about Jessica. Jessica serves as a commercial and residential real estate investment advisor and has been in the business for 17 years. She has worked as a licensed real estate broker in 3 states and has specialized in sales in multifamily income property as well as residential buying and selling specialist. For the last 8 years, Jessica's main focus has been in residential sales in both Oklahoma and right here in Washington. Jessica is an aggressive and knowledgeable advisor in several market areas and has been successful in serving her clients with the most up-to-date and accurate information within the marketplace. Prior to becoming a residential specialist, Jessica managed property portfolios for private investors, which consisted of over 1,000 units. She specialized in project management for multifamily properties, new development, condo conversions, and hotel renovations. Jessica's unmatched work ethic, strong leadership skills, and exceptional real estate knowledge gained by working on the principal side of numerous acquisitions and developments give her clients the security they need for their real estate investments and undoubtedly sets her above her competition. And that's why I invited her in studio. So Jessica, let's get right into it and share with my listeners most common questions for a Realtor. So if you're ready to buy a home, what is the first step is a question that they should be asking.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny because believe it or not, a lot of buyers, first-time home buyers, don't realize they need to get pre-approved for a loan. Yeah. They get pre-qualified and sort of talk to a lender and kind of sort of know they have a good credit score. And, you know, they call me and say, hey, I went to that open house in Shoreline. Can we write an offer?
Yeah.
And we laugh about it later. But at the time, it's like that's when my home buying consultation comes into play. I got to really sit them down and go from beginning to end. And so, you know, a lot of buyers feel like their questions are stupid. And my job is to make them feel comfortable and like they're in a safe place. So going over the first step is you got to get pre-approved for a loan.
Yes.
And that's where then you would come into play. My preferred lender, you know, I explain to them they're in great hands with you and you just kind of everything falls into place from there. But you know, the bad news is no, we can't write an offer on the Shoreline home because they won't even look at it.
Exactly.
You know, your offer needs to come with a pre-approval.
And a big thing with your real estate professional is knowing that they're going to tell you exactly what you do and what you need to do and when to do it to make sure that you're successful. And someone that's not doing that really is not looking out for your best interest in making the process go smoothly. So as being a mortgage professional myself, I know how important credit is, but what do you share with your clients when it comes to credit?
Well, you know, again, back to that first-time home buyer, they will go online, and although the internet is a wealth of knowledge, it also has a lot of misconceptions. They plug in, what's the best rate today? Okay, well, great, I've got a 700, so I'm going to get that best rate. And that's not the case.
Yes.
And so really gently guiding them into the lender's hands and saying they can explain this in greater detail, but your credit score is extremely important with regards to the terms of your loan, your rate, and ultimately your purchase power.
Yes.
And your monthly payment. Because that's a big deal for my clients is, you know, I don't want them to be house poor. They don't want to be house poor.
Sure.
So it's like, it's my job to make sure we stay in those parameters.
So Jessica, what do you consult and talk to your clients about multiple credit pulls and the effect that they have that has to credit, or how important is that in your conversation?
So this gets my blood boiling, not like with my clients, but just the general misconception. And it's unfortunate. And again, it's a lot of buyers are like, God, I just feel stupid. I didn't want to ask you this question. Well, they feel that they're cornered into working with, let's just say, Bank of America,
Yes.
Chase, because they think their credit's going to be dinged every time they get an inquiry. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. A good analogy is, okay, you're going to go get a loan or you're going to get a new credit card. You're going to apply for 5 different credit cards. Those are 5 separate loans, so you're
Yes.
going to get dinged.
Yes.
But the FICO scoring system is meant to protect the consumers, and it is considered one inquiry, no matter how many lenders you go to and seek out. So once they hear that, it's like this huge weight's lifted off their shoulders, and it's
Yes.
like, because it's like probably the biggest financial decision they're going to make,
Yes,
right?
yes.
One of them.
Yes.
So it's important that they start on the right path.
Exactly. And as long, just a little disclosure there, as long as within a period of time, depending on the credit bureau, is going to be dependent on what that time frame is. But yes, that is a great advice, Jessica. So how many homes should a client see? And I know that the answer is going to be different depending on what's happening in the market. But right now with our market, with all these multiple offers, the lack of inventory, how are you coaching around the importance of seeing homes and how many they should see?
So I always say this is not a one size fits all.
Yes.
I've got the one we just closed, Tina. I showed them on the 3rd home is the one we got under contract.
Yes.
I've got clients, I show 20 plus homes, and I just give them the disclaimer of the market we're in right now. We are in a market that's extremely competitive. And so I give my spiel on that. I give them the facts, and I say, look, I want you to feel comfortable, though. I don't want you to feel pushed into this. I don't want you to make any decisions that you're not comfortable with. However, we need to make sure you're within your criteria. So it's my job to keep them there. And if they start getting frustrated or I sense frustration, then we'll have a sit down. We'll revisit things. And, example, I had a buyer who was getting frustrated. And I said, let's calm it down. Let's sit down. Do you have to have a formal dining room? Well, no. Okay, so let's change that. You know what? In fact, I don't have to have 2 baths. I can have 1.5. Boom, right there. 30 more homes pop up in the portal, and they went under contract a week later.
Yeah.
So it's my job as their agent to keep them cool, calm, and collected and make sure that they're informed.
And that is really great, Jessica. And if you're listening right now, your realtor, really what they're there for, as Jessica explained, is to really manage the situation and the emotions that are happening, because it's a huge purchase. And so if you're not feeling connected with the person that you're working with, and they haven't acknowledged and recognized how to bring you back in and to get you into that comfort zone, maybe that relationship is not working. And that's one of the talents that you have to have as a real estate professional, or to be honest, in any sales position that you're in, is helping your clients to be in a great emotional space so that they can be successful and have a successful outcome. So Jessica, let's talk about the search and how clients should be searching for a home.
So again, age of information, internet is such a wealth of knowledge. And most oftentimes, I'd say 99% of the time, when I have a new referral or a new client, they've already got like 10 searches set up.
Yes.
I mean, that's great. And I say, and I encourage that, because if they're comfortable navigating those search engines, then don't reinvent the wheel. But I do offer them my personal MLS portal. And as a licensed real estate agent, that is a good way for us to be cohesively working together. So I can see the homes they discard. I can see the homes that they put hearts by. And it's a good interactive tool for us.
Yes.
So that's one way. I mean, really, again, it's just whatever, search engines you're on, keep it up. Because I've had situations where, I don't want to name the name, but a competitive brokerage uploaded a pending property before my MLS did. And I was like, and my client was like, text messaged me, darn it went pending. And I go, no, it didn't. It's good for them to keep those, because at the end of the day, I tell them, you're going to be more of an expert in this area than I am, because you're on it all day long.
Sure.
I'm servicing multiple clients.
Yep.
So,
and they know what they want at a higher level than you could ever, because sometimes it's hard for clients to even know what they want until they see something and realize that they do.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
So, Jessica, what about safety of neighborhood?
So this is one of the most common questions I get, and it's understandable. My, clients, I'm an expert in my field, so they expect me to give them advice on certain things like neighborhoods and like crime rates and all that kind of stuff. Well, here's the thing. It's considered steering, and I can't. And most oftentimes they're shocked. They're like, really? Like, you can't? I'm like, no, but I can direct you. So my advice to anybody who's looking to buy a home, and you pretty much know the area you want to be in, start doing your due diligence. Start looking into the schools, crime rates. Again, internet has everything you could possibly want to know.
Yeah.
And so that way we're not getting into a situation where we're kind of like the blind leading the blind. Okay, well, we're going to go look and then we get under contract and then you're like getting cold feet.
Yes.
That, again, is my job as your agent to keep all of that ahead of the curve before we start
Make sure
looking.
they have all the information that they need before they start getting serious in the market.
Absolutely.
So, Jessica, I know a common question is, how does a realtor, real estate professional get paid?
Oh my God. So this one kills me because I could look back on how many missed opportunities just thinking like, God, did I have bad breath? Or like, why are these people walking away from me? Like, I'm not like hardcore pressing them here. What's going on?
Yeah.
So it's them feeling the stupid question.
Yeah.
Well, finally, one of my buyers said, well, I thought I had to pay your commission. And I said, oh, good Lord, no. So then, serious conversation, all joking aside. Okay. My commission is pre-negotiated by the seller, always, end of story. You need to have a real estate agent, whether it's me or somebody else representing you. It's extremely important to have somebody backing you. You're receiving my service for free. I ask that you be loyal to me, but other than that, I'm going to look out for your best interest. They're thinking I have to do a down payment, I have to do closing costs, and I've got to pay you 3%.
Yes.
I had a friend from New York when I lived there just move into town, and they called me to find a lease before they were ready to buy. And well, okay, so what do we owe you? And I said, you don't owe me anything, So it's just, it's a common misconception.
Yes. So you'd mentioned down payment. We've talked and mentioned fees. So talk a little bit about outside of the down payment, other fees that are associated.
So that's another big one because first-time home buyers, they're scraping all the money they have just for their down payment. And there's these little fees that come up and they're like, oh man, like $500 for inspection.
Yes.
So there's an inspection, and I call that risk for reward because if we move on from that particular home, then you don't get that money back.
Yes.
So typical inspection fees, $350 on up to $500, sometimes more, depending on how intense your inspection is. You might want to do mold. You might want to do additional inspections on the property. Yep. But typically, you just do the home inspection, termite, and then a sewer scope. So there's also the appraisal fee, which that is, the lender's job to explain that, and also the agent's job to explain that is an upfront cost.
Upfront fee.
And sometimes it can be credited back. Their credit inquiry fee. And then the big one is the earnest money. They don't realize that they need to be prepared to have 1 to 3% ready to go once we get signed around.
Yes.
So, and the good thing about that is at the end, it's kind of a little reward. They a lot of times will forget they have it in there. And then when you give them that big number that they have to bring into closing, everybody looks good. So
the inspection fee, the cost of the appraisal, and then the earnest money, which is going to be credited. So if you're doing a zero down loan, having the cost taken care of in the loan or through the seller, that money's going to come back to you at closing. So what about the process and how long that takes? I know it's another individual determination on what they're trying to accomplish, but how do you coach your clients there?
I mean, I give them the general rule of thumb, 30 to 45 days. Again, it's a lot of it is doing the dance with the lender. And I explain to them the importance of our relationship that you and I have, Tina, as far as being on the same page.
Yep. If you're listening, I have a 30-day closing guarantee.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to chime in there, that guarantee helps me when I present an offer because it's considered an extremely strong offer when I can guarantee a 30-day closing, especially in a market that's so quick and go. Yeah.
So it's important to make sure that you've got those timelines set up with all of your professionals and what they're going to be able to do for you. I've got to wrap things up here, Jessica, for our time together. But before I do, common question, keys. When do they get their keys?
So that's the funnest question because I love giving my clients keys. But they think I signed my loan docs, I brought my check in, give me my keys. It's like, no, we got to go. You got to get the loan funded. And I'll wrap it up here. You got to get the loan funded, get recording numbers, and then it's in your name. You are the legal owner.
Yeah. Love it.
So there's a few more processes other than just signing the loan docs and handing keys.
Yes. Jessica, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you in studio with me. Look forward to having you come back on the show again.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Coming up next in the Money Hour, advice on home inspection. Keith Medley with final phase inspection right here at 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.